Ahoy, mateys! Longing for a life on the salty seas, you scurvy dog? Well, stop, because it pretty much sucks. All those movies and cartoons somehow made it seem like being a pirate was awesome with adventures and stuff, and then they end up getting pirated. Who's having fun now? Anyway, those movies and cartoons forgot to mention the downsides of being a pirate, which is a lot. First of all, nobody usually joins pirate crews for fun. They were most likely forced into it. Most pirates weren't exactly volunteers. They were more like voluntold. Imagine minding your own business, fishing for your supper or enjoying a nice stroll on the beach, when bam! A band of scallywags leaps out, waving rusty cutlasses and reeking of fish guts. Avast, ye yellow-bellied landlubber! Join our merry band of buccaneers, or walk the plank and become chum for Davy Jones's locker. Oh, okay. Those two options sound really tempting, but I'm a bit busy. I still gotta do the dishes. So yeah, hidden booty wasn't the only treasure pirates sought on the high seas. A skilled carpenter or cooper was worth their weight in gold doubloons to a crew in need of repairs or sturdy casks for their bumbo. It was a common sight to see a merchant ship overtaken, not just for its cargo, but for its crew. The unlucky souls with a knack for woodworking were often given a simple choice: join the pirate crew or test their swimming skills against a school of hungry sharks. And then there are those who, faced with the hardships of everyday life, decide that a career change to piracy sounds like a jolly good idea. I'm tired of being a peasant. I'm gonna board a ship and get me some booty, they might have thought. So, while the modern idea of living the pirate's life may have its charms, for many back then, it was more like being caught in a whirlpool of misfortune, forced into a life of piracy against their will. Totally not depressing. And the pirate ships were pretty crowded, because crowded ships meant lots of manpower for the next raiding. But that led to really uncomfortable living conditions. Personal space? Forget about it. And don't even get me started on the smell. Let's just say it was less sea breeze and more eau de unwashed pirate. The food was pretty awful too. You'd think pirates would be sampling the finest foods all around the world. But let's face it, what they dined on would make even a sea monster squirm. When you're stuck on a ship for months on end, the food has to last. So what did they eat? Salted meat was a staple, but not the juicy cuts you might imagine. They usually got the scraps, probably from some beast's backside, heavily salted to keep them from rotting. It was so tough, they'd have plenty of time between bites to regret ever setting foot on a pirate ship. Pirates' diets were also dominated by hardtack, a culinary creation that makes a brick look appetizing. This wasn't your grandma's soft, buttery biscuit. No, this was flour and water mixed together until it resembled something you'd use to patch a leaky hull. Pirates would have to break off chunks of this rock-hard bread with their fists, or whatever hard surface they could find, hoping to avoid cracking a tooth in the process. Aside from being parched and tasteless, the hardtack could also sometimes be infested with weevils. They're basically beetles that lay their eggs in grains. Once hatched, the weevil larvae would burrow their way out of the hardtack, leaving tiny holes behind. But the weevils didn't make you sick or change the taste all that much, so pirates would just usually eat hardtack in the dark to avoid seeing the squirmy stuff. Yum. And are you familiar with the Save the Turtles movement? Well, forget all that when you become a pirate. Turtles were a common food source for pirates because they were relatively easy to catch. They could also be roasted, stewed, or made into soup. Plus, they came with a built-in cooking bowl. Now, remember the bumbo I mentioned earlier? If you don't know what it is, it's basically a mix of rum, water, sugar, and a bit of nutmeg. While that actually sounds pretty good, calling bumbo delicious would be quite a stretch. In reality, bumbo was more of a survival beverage for pirates than a treat. Water on pirate ships quickly became stagnant and foul, so mixing it with rum and other ingredients was a way to hide the awful taste. But the rum used wasn't your top-shelf variety either. It was usually harsh and strong. The sugar and nutmeg were added more for their nutritional benefits than for taste. And there isn't really an official bumbo recipe, so you never quite knew what you were going to get. Sometimes it was a bit tastier, and other times it was, well, liquid regret. You're basically just masking the flavor of moldy, salty water with strong, cheap rum and a hint of nutmeg. Yum, right? So, while bumbo served its purpose, it wasn't exactly a beverage to savor. It was more like a gritty, boozy band-aid, for the harsh realities of life at sea. If you've ever wondered what it's like to drink a cocktail mixed by a blindfolded pirate raccoon, Bumbo might just be the answer. A similar drink had been often associated with pirates too. It's called grog. It's basically the same formula, but instead of nutmeg, you add in lime juice. Interestingly, grog came from the British Navy and was originally invented as a way to prevent scurvy, a disease caused by a lack of vitamin C. Fresh fruit and vegetables were a rare sight on pirate ships, making it all too common for pirates to develop scurvy. This disease is far from pleasant, to put it mildly. It started with constant exhaustion, which is already a buzzkill when your daily routine includes swashbuckling and shouting, "Arr!" Then comes the strange spots on the skin and bleeding gums, turning every meal into a bloodbath. Literally. If that wasn't bad enough, their teeth would soon jump ship, leaving them looking more like gummy sharks than fearsome pirates. Wounds would refuse to heal, adding a touch of eternal misery to their already glamorous lives. Scurvy is actually a more dreaded foe to pirates than the British Navy. Sometimes the real villain is just a missing orange.
Our gums are black, our teeth are falling out. We got spots on our backs, so give it up and shout. We got scurvy, we need some vitamin C. We got scurvy, we need a lemon tree. We got scurvy, we just chillin' on the sea. Let's get this scurvy started.
Now, another interesting thing about pirates, though not necessarily bad, is that a lot of them were gay and sucked each other's very often. I mean, when you're stuck in a ship in the middle of the ocean and don't know how long you have left to live, you might as well turn to your sweaty crewmate to relieve some tension. But it wasn't purely just drunken, smelly, and disease-filled encounters between dudes, although that probably happened quite a lot. Some pirate ships actually had their own version of marriage contracts between men. It's called matelotage, a partnership where two pirates would join forces, combining their possessions, wealth, and occasionally their bad hygiene habits. Your matelot was like your pirate spouse, minus the wedding cake and in-laws. If your matelot met a tragic end, which was pretty common in the pirate business, you'd inherit their share of the booty. Think of it as a very morbid retirement plan. And the best part? You didn't need a fancy lawyer to draw up the contract, just a mutual understanding and maybe a swig of Bumbo to seal the deal. Now, when it comes to pirate combat, it's not like the epic choreographed sword battles we see in movies and have come to love. Real pirate fights were more like chaotic bar brawls than elegant duels. Just a bunch of unruly sailors swinging anything they could grab, cutlasses, pistols, or even a half-eaten loaf of hardtack, while tripping over ropes and slipping on spilled rum. Pirates didn't have time for fancy footwork or dramatic pauses. Life in the sea is too tough to learn intricate details and proper communication skills. Pirates would just use extreme violence to make a point, and I mean extreme. So those are some of the reasons why it probably sucked to be a pirate. If you know any more reasons, share it in the comments. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and if you didn't, that's also fine. See ya.